Warn you, I'm a little sleepy.
I'm a little sleepy too. Because
Well, I got up extra early for this.
I just raked leaves for 2 hours.
I saw you posted something about that.
Oh,
Raining leaves.
yeah. And I forgot to post the. This will be a Fandango exclusive for a little bit. Forgot to post the fruits of my labor. Come on, you. Check that out. See if you can see that. Can't really see that. It's not working. What if I turn it down?
It's very ghosty.
Yeah, what if I turn it down? Does that help? That helps. You can sort of see it.
Large bags of leaves.
Yes.
I'm picturing. Okay. You put them in bags. Why didn't you leave them in a nice big pile? So some kid with a wet sucker could jump into them.
I put them in bags so some kid doesn't jump into them.
It's not the Halloween spirit.
No. I take leaf rakings very seriously because it's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to do it again.
It's been a very long time since I had that many leaves to rake up. I've got a lot of evergreens around me.
Well, normally it's a lot more steady. Like the first round we did, it was 10 bags. And then I did another round earlier this week, and it was about 12 bags.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night it dropped to -7 or 8, and then it got warm, and I guess that just kind of messed up the stems and the leaves, and they all just started falling at the same time.
It probably froze all of the moisture inside the leaf.
Yeah. So it was 17 bags.
Yikes, today. Man. What does your yard look like? How many trees you got back there? Or is this front yard, backyard?
Well, front and backyard. So the front yard's got a big red maple tree. It's massive. And those drop just tons of red leaves onto the lawn. It's very patriotic when you look at it. It's like, oh man, oh Canada, here we are. And then in the backyard, it's another big maple tree that drops these big, huge green maple leaves all over the place. And then we got a honey locust that drops like these small leaves that are really hard to pick up. So it's really just the 3 trees, but they create enough of a mess.
It's pretty impressive that you know the names of your trees.
Well, Sarah tells me what they are. So yeah, I only have to remember 2. There's a honey locust and 2 maple trees. So it's not. And then we have pine trees. We have a 1 pine tree in the back. I can't remember what type of pine tree it is. It's not a spruce, but it's some sort of pine tree.
That's a pine tree.
Yeah. And then we have cedar bushes in the back that drop little red stuff. Then there's all sorts of bushes around that drop all sorts of little leaves. That's what people tune into Fandango for. Leaf Raking 101.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Fandango, welcome everyone to Retro Fandango, episode number 164. I am a co-host, Kevin, also known as Barry Delmars, and I'm here with Rambox, who's also known as Richard. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Sean Connery, free Ghostbusters, flu shots, loud music at Canadian Tire. I don't know. That's a topic that people really need to know. And then in movies, we're going to be talking about Doomsday, Christine, Borat 2, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3, and The Frighteners. So there we go. Reminder for everyone to check out our sister podcasts or whatever. It's the last day of the month, though. I guess I should have looked up what everyone's playing in November. But you never know. Somebody might tune into this before the end of the day. Torchlight, too, will continue to be the Quick Save Club game of the month throughout November. Cartridge Club was playing Parasite Eve, so you better get on that if you want to play that. And RF Gen was playing Fatal Frame 2, The Crimson Butterfly. So apologies for not getting to November's games, but I was tired. I raked leaves for 2 hours.
They know what they're playing.
In November, it's the Coming of Age 3-pack for Fandango. We got Stand By Me, Rushmore, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead with special guest, It's Rocket Sauce.
and maybe the Breakfast Club. So my purchase will make some sense.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Hmm.
It's a good
It's
movie.
like it's hard to shake that. Like that movie was not included. I
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
like
I'm not.
I see it on paper, on a screen, and I understand it's not there, but it just feels like it should be.
I think the problem is we've just changed movies so often lately that
Yeah.
you need to just. Okay,
No
and then in
problem.
December, Richard's got a pretty good idea here. Distance December with The Thing, Castaway, and one more. I get to choose the third movie.
Well, you can choose the whole theme, whatever you want. That was just one idea that popped into my head. I like the idea of. At first, it was thinking, winter, cold. We haven't done The Thing. That'd be a fun one to talk about in detail. And then opposite end of the spectrum, you got Tom Hanks on an island, but all
Mm-hmm.
alone. And it was bugging me, like, well, how do you? What's the third one? Is it going to be something that matches, or is there some other thing? Because we have done movies like Moon, where you're isolated out in space.
Yeah.
It's like, so can you, if you can figure out the third leg of that podcast,
What about 3 Tom Hanks movies?
could do that too.
Tom Hanks is kind of Christmassy, although the movies that I'm thinking of right now are not very Christmassy. Have you ever seen The Burbs?
Yes, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, I do want to watch that. I have it. I bought it.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
Because that's a Joe Dante joint.
my brain's just struggling to think of Tom Hanks. December. What's the clever name? It was too early.
Hanks for the memories. That's the only thing that's coming to my head. But that doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Hanks, you Merry Christmas now.
Three Tom Hanks movies can be good. There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and I just picked up Saving Private Ryan because it was on sale on 4K.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I have good memories of it, and then so here's the thing with Saving Private Ryan. I remember watching it. We watched it in the theater. Sarah and I did, and we really liked it, especially the first 30 minutes where it's the whole Normandy.
That's all I ever hear about is that opening.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was something else, and I mean that's where that the Medal of Honor series totally took that entire scene and put it into a video game. And then, so I recommended to my parents to go see it. I said, "You guys got to see this movie. It was so good." And so they went to go see it, and then they came back and they're like, "Oh, that thing was a piece of crap. We didn't like it at all." I'm like, oh. They enjoyed the first 30 minutes, but they said the rest of it was too American.
That's another thing I've heard about that movie and other war films in general.
Well, generally, American war films are American centric. Like they don't really
it's
dive
the
into
good guys versus everybody else.
Yeah, but that's not what it was. It was a bunch of good guys against a couple of countries that were, and I mean, to be honest, like there was a lot that America did wrong in that World War II, like waiting until Britain was completely bankrupt and out of cash because they were making a ton of dough off of Britain because Britain was just buying tons of stuff off of the United States. And the United States was like, oh, this is great. Keep buying stuff off us. We're not going to join your war. That's Europe's war. We're not getting into that until they were bankrupt. And they're like, we'd have no more money to give you, U.S. So they're like, okay, well, we better go in there and stomp this. We better shut it down. And then I know everyone's going to say, well, it was the bombing of Pearl Harbor, but they could have joined in. They could have joined into that Europe war a lot sooner than what they did.
Americans don't sit around and wait. You just turn on the news, see what's going on.
Yeah,
in America right now. See how our leader is out there making changes.
He's out there doing his reality TV show right now.
Oh my goodness! I really had to stop. Like I got so addicted with just keeping up with like what's going on today. What's the latest bombshell? What's the crazy thing now? And I just got to the point I was like, nah, I gotta stop, but I can't. It's like every time I try to stay away from it, curiosity gets the better of me, and I was like, all right, let's see what. Oh, okay, doctors are crooks. They're just after the COVID money.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a rich one. You know, they get $2,000 every time they mark down a death from COVID.
What'd they die of? Nah, COVID.
Yeah, I want that $2,000. What are you talking about? What? And the people believe it. They love. I was just watching because I was really into it, and then I like for the last month I was like I gotta really tone this down.
You
like,
gotta
stop.
You gotta like take that break.
But then over the last, I'd say, week and a half, I've slipped back into it, and I've been watching the speeches, and even today before we got on, I was watching him give doing one of his rallies in Pennsylvania, and the crowd is chanting, "We love you, we love you, we love you."
It's been a recent one.
And he's standing there. He's like, "Yeah, nobody's ever said that before at a political rally. Nobody's ever said, we love you to the candidate." And I'm saying, yeah, because you're a cult. This is what happens in a cult. Nobody says I love you to Joe Biden. We say, Joe Biden, we want you to lead us. We don't love you. We want you to. We believe that you are the guy to run the country. Because you are in a cult.
It's so bizarre, and I try to be fair. When there's a decision, there's an A or a B, and then there's a whole lot of gray everywhere else. I watch one side, and then after a while you hear all the reports of like, well, this side is saying this side is saying this, and I'm like, all right, let me be fair, let me go see what they're saying, not just clips of people talking about what they're saying. And I'll get in there, and it's zany land. It's so ridiculous. At times, even the way it's phrased, you were like, well, they're kind of making a point there, let me see if this is true. Oh no, it's not. It's just insanity. I cannot believe that there are such large portions of the country that are going along with this.
Yeah,
I could totally understand if you want to vote Republican, if that's your stance, if you really side with the conservative side, or maybe you're just not interested in Biden, you don't think his policies are any good, and you got your reasons, whatever, but come on, I just can't understand how somebody can back Trump for any other reason than personal gain or stupidity. It's just, and I'm sorry if there's anyone out there in our audience who happens to lean that way, but I can't.
I don't think it is the Republican Party anymore, and that's why you have things like the Lincoln Project.
Yeah, and it's just so far gone.
He's completely.
You've seen like record numbers of high-ranking Republicans that are just saying like, we want nothing to do with this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really hope that what happens on Tuesday is a complete landslide, like where it's just there's no doubt about it, and not only him, but it's not only him though. They got to get rid of all these guys in the Senate who've been enabling him, like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and all these people, because if they're still in power, who knows what kind of shenanigans are going to go on after the election. And I think once he loses the election really badly, that's when he's going to finally have some stink on him. Like the way I look at politics, kind of like the music industry, whereas if you have a number one hit, everybody kind of want to work with you. They want, it's like Phil Collins in the 80s. Everybody wanted to work with Phil Collins because the guy was cranking out hits. Every time he wrote something, it was a major hit. So everybody wanted to work with him because they thought he had some sort of magic or whatever. And then in the 90s, nobody wanted to work with him because the hits went away, So I'm hoping on Tuesday we're going to see 90s Phil Collins in the Trump's camp, and I want politics to be boring again. I want it to be so dull that I don't even care anymore.
Well, that's the really unfortunate thing, because I know a lot of his votes, a lot of his supporters are probably coming from people who just like, well, I don't know anything about politics, but this guy's entertaining. Yeah, at least I can turn on the news and get a laugh every night. So
totally
I'll vote for him.
And the Facebook thing definitely plays a part of it, where people can just live in these information bubbles where they're not actually hearing, actual facts of what's going on. It's all just stuff that makes Trump look good. Like same as you, I'll watch Fox News once in a while just to see what's going on over there. And was it this morning we put it on, and they started going on about these reports about how Trump is the amount of people who are incarcerated in prisons have gone down like 23% from 2007 to 2020. Okay, but like 8 of those years, Obama was president, but he's taken all the credit for these prisons. But every report I hear about these prisons say that they're overcrowded, that there's too many people in there, that they need to decriminalize marijuana, to get these guys out of prison, because it makes no sense why they're in there and all that. So, and then they had this old lady. She was a black woman, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was sent to prison, and Trump got me out of prison because he's doing the right thing and all this." And it's like, this is just like pandering to get the black vote in the United States. Totally what they're doing. But I don't know what the actual facts are. I need to look it up to see like why the prison stuff is going down, and I'm sure I'll look it up and find out that it has nothing to do with Trump.
No, there were a number of policies and things that Obama's administration put forth, and Trump has been amending them. He'll make a little change, a little update or something to it, and as soon as he signs that, oh, look at this policy I created. That's the big one that's going on with the whole Obamacare, and how he's trying to go to the Supreme Court to get rid of that. And everyone asks him, well, what's your new plan? Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm pretty sure he just wants to get rid of the name. He really just wants to get rid of the name Obamacare. He doesn't want anything to do with Obama. And it's going to be so satisfying if Biden wins the election that Trump will forever be in the history books right between Obama and Biden. That's at least like...
Hey, we got Kyle in the chat. All right. Hey, Kyle. Good to see you. Kyle doesn't mind. I know he doesn't mind political talk. So,
oh my goodness, what if that's why nobody else is signing in?
Who knows? I don't know. I'm talking to my buddy Richard. Happy. Anyone who wants to join in, I'm just happy to have him.
Yeah, this isn't Buried on Mars and Rambox right now.
No,
those guys will be nonpartisan and just hey,
love
that Nintendo.
That's right. That's my character. The
characters you love are safe.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting.
It's going to be something. Sure. I mean, people in different areas, especially around Washington, they are like battering down. They're sealing up their houses in anticipation of riots and protests, and not political in any way. I just hate Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of people. I don't know. I'm hoping it's more than 50%, because this is the other thing too. Like they show all these polls and that. The number one thing is you got to remember with these dumb polls, the national polls that they keep doing. This is one thing that the media does that really bothers me, because the media is lazy, and it's a lot easier to do a national poll than go state by state and find out what each state is thinking. And this was the problem that they got in with Hillary, is that they, in 2016, is that they kept doing all these national polls, and they were right. Hillary won the popular vote. And it's the same thing with Biden. He's winning the popular vote. But because of that electoral college, the popular vote doesn't mean much. What you got to do is you got to look at it state by state and see what each state is planning on going. Those are the polls that you need to look at. So anytime they start going on about national polls, it's just junk. Throw it out the window. It's just the media being lazy, because it's a lot easier to do a national poll. If you phone 1,000 people from around the country, and there, you got your poll. Whereas state by state, you got to go into each state and do it 50 times in order to get, an accurate. So those are the ones you got to look at.
Yeah. Well, that could just be the radical left. They want their positive numbers out there, which just could be true. Like, go to the other side, and that's what they say. Well, and part of that is true.
Really, the positive numbers,
when you see all that.
Really, the positive. See, so here's the thing: positive numbers sound good on the surface, but they also can be a deterrent for people to go and vote for you, or because they'll just think, well,
Yeah,
I was
he's
going to go
already.
and vote, but Biden's got it. He's got it locked in, so I don't need to go and vote.
Mhm.
So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, well, I've never heard the reporters, journalists in mass just constantly reminding you, like every year, anytime there's an election, it's always like, yeah, go vote, don't wait or anything. But now they're just hammering that down, like, do not wait. As soon as it hit that mark of like, they're not going to count any ballots that are received after November 3rd, even if they're postmarks. Like, if you got a ballot, do not send it. You got to take it in person. You got to go to the clerk. You got to take it to a Dropbox. Just take it in
Yeah.
person. They're constantly hammering this over your head, and good reason, because a lot of people are probably just going to think, what's the point? What's my one going to do?
That's the one thing. Like, I really feel bad for the Americans because the voting system, it's just bonkers. It's bonkers how it's different in every state. Every state has different rules. Some
Mhm.
states you got to put your vote your voting card into a certain envelope. Other places you got to have the right signature that matches other signatures. It's wild. It's crazy.
It's really ridiculous that some states are not going to be counting ballots that are received after November 3rd, even if they were postmarked.
It's bizarre.
It's just, it really seems like they have their own agenda. I mean, under normal circumstances, maybe you can play it off like, well, they're kind of lazy. They just don't want to do the extra work. But come on, this year,
Yeah,
you got to take everything.
Any year. Like
any year, for real.
Everyone's vote should count. It shouldn't.
You shouldn't even be thinking about, what to do. Of course, they have the difficulties of all the post office closings and limitations and machinery being pulled out and all that.
Yeah. But that's what they do, right? It's like every little thing they know. Like, these are money guys, right? They know that every little penny counts. At the end of the day, you add it all up, and this is what they do with the votes. They just go in there and they know, like, every little trick that they pull, even if it even if it takes a lot of work to discourage 50 people, that's 50 votes that they can just sweep under the rug, and they just do it constantly over and over again, and it builds up. I mean, here in Canada, everyone, if you're a Canadian citizen, you are registered to vote. You pay taxes, whatever, you're automatically registered to vote. Now, because you get a voter card in the mail, when you go and vote, you do have to bring some ID. But I feel that the difference is, and I don't know, you can tell me, it feels like as if in the States, when you go to a place to vote, when you go to the poll, like the people who work there seem to be making sure that you can vote. Like, they're double checking and they're saying, like, okay, well, watching for any sort of shenanigans. Whereas every time I've gone to a polling place, the people who work there are doing nothing but making sure that you can vote. Not that you can't vote, but that you can vote. You got your card. If you don't have your card, no problem. Show us some ID. Show us, you show them a tax return. You can show them just some sort of proof that you live at this address and that you've lived there for a certain amount of time. And they work with you to get you to vote. Whereas it seems like in the States, it's the complete opposite. You go in, they don't want you to vote. They only want you to vote if you have this, and this all in place.
Yeah, I can't vouch for that personally because it's just been so long. I can't remember what it was like when I was physically there in person to vote last time. But you do make it sound a whole lot like the DMV.
Yeah.
When you get in there and it's like, all right, let me look for any excuse, any reason why I can deny you, so I don't got to do anything. I can just keep sitting here and waiting out my clock.
There's
which
Kyle.
is kind of the attitude of everyone in my hometown.
Government wants you to vote, but it's making it hard to do. Like, that's the one thing. Like, in Canada, they want to encourage.
I'd say the government, probably the legitimate government, wants you to. It's Trump's organization.
Yeah.
That is working outside the government.
Yeah. I want a nice return to normal. I know a lot of people out there say, well, "What do you care? You're a Canadian. Doesn't matter to you." Well, it does. It does matter to us a lot. Everything the United States does affects Canada greatly. It's big. Like our border is completely closed right now with the United States because of that idiot that's in the White House, you know? And Kyle says it's pretty much the DMV.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that enough politics? Should we move on? To go on to from one depressing topic.
Is there
to the
anything
next?
else to talk about?
No, I think that's it. It's just go vote. If you haven't voted, go vote.
I guess that's all we can say, because next time you hear from us, we'll kind of maybe we'll know.
I don't think we will. We're going to be recording next Friday.
Forever.
Yeah, that's the other
It's going to
thing,
be unclear, and there's going to be people saying that they've won.
Yes,
because a lot of places are going to be. Oh, sorry, we're continuing this. A lot of places are saying they're going to be counting the November 3rd in-person votes first. So if Trump gets his way and all his supporters come out in that red wave that come out and do that, then you're going to see a big spike that might surpass all those early voting numbers. But then they still got to count all the ballots that are coming in. My vote has been counted already.
Kyle is asking, how's the weather in Southern Ontario, just in case. Kyle, I'm sorry, if you're looking to come here, the border's closed because of that guy.
You have to dig a tunnel.
If your cases were matched to ours, then I'm pretty sure the border would be open. But I don't think too many people are getting through.
That was nutty. I think it was Sean who posted a photo of.
That was me.
Was that you with all the red?
And I guess he copied it from me. But yeah, but pretty much, yeah, like they were saying, a lot of people in that thread were saying that the reason for the red line between the United States and Canada, why there's way more cases in the United States versus Canada, is population density, which does make sense in in your cities, in your big cities, but there is a complete line like in between Montana and Saskatchewan where the population density is pretty much the same.
Right.
You know,
population density is it's a realistic thing to look at, but Japan is extremely densely populated.
Right.
Like you compare the population of the United States versus Japan, I forget what it is. We might have about like a third of the people, but a fraction of the space. And you compare case numbers. No,
Japan. No. I'm pretty sure Tokyo is still way up there in one of the biggest cities in the United States, or in the United States, in the world, because the whole world is the United States. Tokyo's up there, but I remember seeing something. I couldn't remember if it went past 2020, but New York wasn't even in the top 20 anymore for largest city in the world. Yeah, I can't. That might have went past 2020. I can't remember, but it was like all these, especially these cities in India and in China. They're just
China, forget about it. Yeah,
massive amounts of people in there, and Mexico City's up there too. There's a lot of people in there. Okay.
No, it's people who just are not wearing masks or are being told you don't need to wear a mask.
Yep. If you're diligent with the masks thing,
See how far around that curve we're going? Look at
that. That was a good line by Biden when Trump keeps going like we're coming around the bend, we're coming around the curve, and Biden's like, how many corners does this thing have? Yeah, turn in the corner. All right. Let's go from this depressing topic to another depressing topic, and let's talk about Sean Connery for a little bit, who passed away today at the age of 90. Very sad news. What's your favorite Sean Connery movie?
I don't know if I could say it's my favorite movie. There's probably so many I haven't seen of his, but my favorite performance by him is probably Dr. Henry Jones. I love him in that.
Indy's dad.
In Indy's Papa.
Yep.
He's such a likable character there. Not my favorite Indiana Jones movie, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that. For me, it's always going to be The Untouchables, doing it the Chicago way. That's like Malone. My favorite. Yeah, Malone was so good in that. They bring a knife, you bring a gun. They put one of yours in the hospital, you put one of them in the morgue. That's the Chicago way. I don't remember too many movie quotes, but that one is up in there.
Oh boy, 90, huh?
Yeah.
So it was just straight up old age for him.
I don't know. He retired in like 2004. I don't know if he officially retired, but his last movie was in 2004.
Is that when he was doing that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Right. Yeah.
Was that his last movie?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Kyle says the
what a
Last
stinker
Crusade.
to go out on. I haven't even seen it, but I heard that movie's terrible.
I believe I've tried to watch it, and I was like in a mood to watch, just garbage. I was like, yeah, give me like the popcorn movie. I'm ready for it. And I was like, I can't even sit through this. This is not good times. But he had a few stinkers. I think that the last movie I saw him in that I enjoyed was probably The Rock, that crazy one with Nicolas Cage.
Ooh, boy, that
Michael
was a
Bay.
stinker.
I think I liked it. I can't remember.
Ooh, no, I heard so many things about it over the years. I kept hearing The Rock. Everybody's talking, oh, wow, The Rock. That was like fun action movie. I watched it and like, ooh, this is not good.
Well,
you're right, though. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, his last credited role. And he was offered the role of Gandalf, but he shut that down.
Well, the rumor was, I don't know if this is true, but the rumor was that he was kind of slipping a bit with the memory. Like he couldn't remember the lines.
Well, you go, as of then, he was what, 73?
Yeah.
Yeah, so could be.
He was in the video game, though. The 2005 video game From Russia with Love. And he did voice the character in it. But he only had to read the lines, not memorize them, right?
Paper in front of his face.
Right. So that was in 2005. Oh, yeah. Finding Forrester. Yeah, I remember not liking that one. Entrapment. I remember not liking that one. The Avengers. Oh, Dragonheart. I did enjoy Dragonheart. I know a lot of people don't like that movie, but I enjoyed it.
I couldn't get through that one. I wanted to like it.
I mean, I haven't seen it since the 90s, but I remember liking it. So I don't know.
Did you ever see Reign of Fire? That's a dragon movie.
No, I have not. Hunt for Red October. That was a good one.
That was good. I watched that recently.
Last Crusade.
Medicine Man, I remember mostly for the trailer.
I never seen that one.
I haven't. I remember my mom watching it years ago, and it just something about like he finds a cure for cancer out in the forest. Oh, Highlander! How can you forget Highlander?
It's easy to forget Highlander.
Connor McLeod.
Well, really, it's it was Untouchables and James Bond. I like when I was a kid. James Bond was the other guy who died. Why am I blanking on his name?
Look at all these movies he's been in.
Come on, who was the other James Bond?
Roger
Moore?
Were
a kid. Roger Moore. That was James Bond to me when I was a kid. Octopussy and You Only A View to a Kill. And then it wasn't until I remember I saw The Untouchables, and then we got this channel from the United States, from Atlanta, called TBS on our cable. It came with a free preview. So I started watching this, and they would air a bunch of James Bond movies, old James Bond movies. And I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, Mom, the guy from The Untouchables is James Bond. What's going on here? This isn't Roger Moore. And it blew me away. Hey, we didn't have the internet when we were kids. I mean, come on. So I remember watching all those movies like Thunderball and Goldfinger, From Russia with Love. They were good times. You never watched any of them.
I still haven't seen one.
You still haven't seen one. Dr. No. Oh, they're so good. The best one, though, was because he left. He left for one movie because he got into a fight with the movie studio. So the studio replaced him with an Australian model, George Lazenby. And he did. And
Is he the guy that did just the one movie?
He did the one James Bond movie. And it actually did okay. It was very long. It was a very long movie, but it did okay. But a lot of people were pissed off that Sean Connery wasn't in it. So then when they for the next movie, they said they sucked up to Sean Connery and they said, okay, Sean Connery, come on in back into the movie. And it was so I'm going to kind of get into some James Bond spoilers, but nothing really too major. So in from the one movie that George Lazenby does, it was a really different James Bond movie too, because James Bond was like a playboy, right? And in this one, they got him to tie the knot. He actually gets married, and Blofeld, his nemesis, kills his wife. Murders his wife. So Sean Connery comes back for this next movie, and he's like, I still got to be a playboy in that, but I got to get vengeance on Blofeld. So the entire, I'd say, first 20 minutes of the following movie, Diamonds Are Forever, it's just him tracking down Blofeld, and he's killing like all of his henchmen left, right, and center. And it's just action packed. It was so good. It was awesome. It's good times.
So the Bond movies do connect one to the other?
That was like one of the sort of exceptions where they actually carried on the story. And then once that was done after the 20 minutes, then it was just like, you didn't even need to see the previous movie. Like what happens after that? It's like, so there was always like he would always have like Felix Leiter was like his CIA contact, and Moneypenny was the secretary, and M was the guy behind the counter, the desk that would give him the assignments and that. So there were a few things where the movies would connect one through another, but for the most part, you really could just jump in on any movie and not
just
have
like
to
watching
worry
an
about
episode of a TV show.
It was like a serial, yeah, like like Star Trek or whatever. You didn't need to see the previous episode, so it was good times. And Sean Connery for me, I mean, I like Roger Moore was the guy I grew up with, so I do still like Roger Moore a lot. But Sean Connery kind of over the years has taken over my top spot as James Bond, and no one has surpassed it. I think pound for pound, Sean Connery has done the most out of the good. Like to me, he only had really, like if I look at his movies, there's the one You Only Live Twice was kind of weird, where he goes undercover as an Asian man, which is a little difficult to watch. And then Thunderball was a little bit long, but it was still good. So those are the only two like weak movies that I think he did. The rest were all great, in my opinion. Like Dr. No, Goldfinger, From Russia with Love, not You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever. Those are great. All four of those. And I don't think any other James Bond, any other actor who played James Bond had four good ones like that. I don't think, anyways. There you go. That's my tribute to Sean Connery.
Your mic is seems to be cutting in and out a little bit.
Testing 1 2. Hello. Oh, cutting.
Maybe it's okay.
I haven't changed anything. Why would I?
I don't know.
I noticed we lost Kyle when we started talking about James Bond.
He's just here for the Trump bashing.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good.
Oh, I could talk about Star Trek. Maybe bring him back. But unfortunately, I don't have much to say. I haven't. I'm probably within 1 or 2 episodes of finishing season 1.
I did get a work order because Discovery screwed up again at work, so they asked me to put in this week's episode. I don't know if it was episode 2 or 3. It was something. I think something happened in between 2 episodes because there's lots that I was missing. But I started watching that one, and there was parts of it that actually felt a little bit good. Like I was looking at it like, oh, this okay. No, but it's still so poorly written that it's really hard to get past. Like there were so Michael Birnbaum was stuck out in space. Sorry, I'm going to give some spoilers. I really have no clue what's going on. So if there's a spoiler, I have no idea. So she was out in the future. They're in the super future, right? Mm-hmm. And
let me guess, has the Federation collapsed? Is it a war-stricken wasteland now?
You're very, very, very on the nose.
There you go.
Absolutely. There was a thing called the burn that happened at some point between the last time we saw Data go flying out of the Enterprise at the end of Nemesis to this Discovery, Starship Discovery, like in the super future.
They have no idea how to write within an ideal society. They gotta drop it all into chaos.
Yep. So there's something called the burn, which burned all the dilithium crystals in the universe. All the dilithium crystals in the universe just kind of spontaneously exploded, which destroyed every Federation ship, and all the space stations, everything that runs on dilithium got creamed. So they're in this dystopian future. They go to Earth, and Earth is like, get out of here. We don't even we want nothing to do with the Federation. They're like, how could you not want anything to do with the Federation? It's the cornerstone of Earth, is the central of, and not anymore. Get out of here. So they're all trying to figure it out. But at least they were on the ship, and they were kind of working together to figure out what to do. They were trying to work together as a team to figure out, first, she comes back, and I guess Birnbaum is supposed to be the next captain of the ship because she is the next highest ranking member, but she gives the captain to Soru is his name, the big tall guy with the long arms.
Okay.
I think his name is Sori, whatever. So she says, no, you be captain. I don't want to be captain because you've, I don't know, flew the ship better or she gave some stupid reason.
Well, he was, from when the show started, from what I can remember, he was the most qualified person to run the ship.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I would prefer him as captain than Birnbaum because she just seems to be.
I'm kind of it just seems they're doing the Harry Potter thing. Like the Harry Potter movies, the books, there was always that one teacher for whatever class it was that kept switching every book. There was some position. They always had a different teacher. Everybody, it's like they just constantly have the rotating captain until eventually she's going to become the captain at the end of the series.
Yeah, I only read the first 2 Harry Potter books, and then I started reading the third, and I'm like, man, this is the same thing. And so I've never seen any of the movies or anything like that. I just don't care.
I think for me, Harry Potter talk right now, part 2 is the best.
Well, I remember, I enjoyed 1 and 2 for what they were. I'm like, okay, these are okay, And then when I got to 3, I'm like, okay, this is the same thing. I don't need to read the same book 3 times in a row. So I was kind of done.
Children's book,
and I never did see any of the movies. Just never bothered. I know, but there's a lot of good stuff that's targeted for children. But you can still read it as an adult and enjoy it.
That's why I went through them. Except I didn't watch the last movie.
I haven't seen any of them. Anyways, what the heck were we talking about? Star Trek. They're in the future. Yeah. So, anyways, that I guess that was my point. Is that there were some moments in time where they were trying to work together to figure out what to do. And there's a super genius teenager that beams aboard onto the ship and sabotages a whole bunch of stuff onto the ship. Friggin' Wesley Crusher. Here we go. Wesley Crusher with an edge. Because he's gonna
I guess Wesley.
Emo. She did look very emo, and you can tell that she's going to be on the ship very soon. She's going to be a crew member very soon. But when this was all happening, and they were trying to figure out what's going on with the ship, and they're like, "Oh, it's probably that 16-year-old that was going around. How is she so smart and all that?" And they were in a room and they were talking, and they were talking to each other, and there was no crazy music happening, and cameras zipping and down. They were actually just sitting there having a conversation, trying to figure out what to do.
Oh, so it was a slow episode. They didn't have enough budget for a fight scene.
I don't know. I was enjoying it anyways. But then it goes on to the next scene, and Michelle Yeoh is still on the show for some reason. I love Michelle Yeoh in I think she's a great actress and everything, but her character in the show just doesn't appeal to me at all. And I think she is still the mirror universe Michelle Yeoh because she's really nasty to everybody, and it's just really just poorly written, just the dialogue and everything. They're having to fight with this traitor guy who finds out that because now the Discovery's loaded with dilithium for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't been following the show, but it's loaded with dilithium, and that's become like a huge commodity in this future because a lot of it exploded, right? So anyone who has any, so this trader guy's trying to steal it from them, and they so Burn Bum's on the ship with her boyfriend who she met while she was out doing stuff, and his ship is on Discovery, and so Soru is on the bridge and he's trying to negotiate with Earth, and then this trader guy comes in, they're all arguing, and he's trying to, like, look, I really don't want to get in between this thing and all that, blah blah blah, and they're all doing this stuff, and then all of a sudden Burn Bum and her boyfriend are on the boyfriend's ship with all the dilithium in their ship, and they're flying out of the Discovery. They're leaving the Discovery, and Soru has no idea what's going on. And it's like, that's Burn Bum. What's she doing? I don't know. And it devolves into the same stupid, dumb thing. Like, why wouldn't she tell them what the deal is, what they're doing? Like, sit down in the ready room and have a plan. Let's do this. Yeah, we're all on board. Instead of this dumb, like, I don't know what's going on. Is she like? How many times have you seen her do this in the show? And then at the end of it, well, she had a great plan to bring everything together and it was all going to be good. Same stupid thing. Just poor writing. Poor writing.
Well, at least she's out there with her reliable boyfriend who's not gonna.
And I swear, you're damned if you do. You're damned if you do with the show, and you're damned if you don't. If you watch it, people complain. Well, why are you watching the show if you don't like it? And if you don't watch it, well, you can't complain about the show because you don't watch it. If I had hair, I'd pull it out.
To be fair, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, well, consider yourself lucky. It's still not great.
I'm on the cusp of season 2 of the original Star Trek, which means nice. Very soon.
Yes. That's good times.
That's all I want.
Yeah. Good times. All right, we somehow got Star Trek talking there. I wanted to ask you about flu shots in Japan. Do you guys get flu shots there?
I do not. I do not trust flu shots. I don't get them.
Do they have them there? Do they?
They do. Okay. And last year, last winter, when the corona came in, everybody started washing their hands and wearing masks and being more careful. Record number of flu shots went unused and record low of flu cases.
Oh, really?
Wash your hands, people. The masks are not only for corona. Right. I no longer have to have this conversation with you. You laughed at my masks for many years when I told you I wore them.
At your
yes,
mask.
You did.
I did not laugh at your mask.
They don't work 100%. Blah 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 blah. I don't have to argue with that anymore because now everyone else knows it's a good defense. It helps reduce the risk. I wash my hands a lot.
It helps you from spreading it to other people. It's not
and
that
it also
protects.
You've seen all the things if you pee on people and then if they're peeing on people and all that.
Right. But you still got to do the other things like washing your hands.
Yes.
Keeping away from people.
I never said that it was only the mask.
Stay in your house. Don't put on the mask and think you could be Superman and go do anything. That was my only point. That's all I ever said. That's all I ever said. And then the woman that was at the restaurant, she had a mask on. She cut a hole in her mask so she can eat the French fries.
Yeah.
I made fun of that. Not of anyone wearing a mask. I made fun of that.
Fun of those people all day long.
All right.
The point is, I wash my hands regularly. I avoid touching my face when I'm out in public. I don't, in normal circumstances, I don't even wear the mask very often, just if I'm in a crowded place or on a train or something, and I don't get the flu. And, so.
Well, since this whole thing started, I have not been sick, knock on wood, other than allergies. I had some allergies, but no colds or sore throats or anything like that. Need some wood to knock on. Here's some.
Knock on IKEA.
There you go. Well, they're giving flu shots at work. So I'm thinking of going and getting one. I've never gotten a flu shot before, but I'm thinking of doing it because I just don't want to spread the disease. It's nothing to do with me. I just don't want to spread stuff to other people.
That is all your decision. It's all up to you.
So, okay. I know a lot of people don't. And I've never had before.
I don't get them. I'm not an anti-vaccine person, but I am pro information and pro safety. So I just like to know what I am putting into myself or my children before it happens. I like to get the information, think it through, make the decision.
Well, apparently it's eggs and flu. A little bit of flu.
A little bit of flu, a little bit of aluminum. So
Yeah, apparently, which apparently is bad for Alzheimer's disease.
well, it's bad for everything. Go ask a doctor. How much aluminum should I put in my body? None. Should I get a flu shot? Oh, absolutely.
But here's the other thing, though. The flu shot's been around for at least 15 years now, and it's not like as if people have been coming away with strange diseases and what. Actually, longer than 15 years. It's not like people have been coming away with strange diseases and whatnot. They say you can get the flu because it's injecting you with the flu.
Because they're giving you the flu, yeah.
Right. But it's not enough of a strain to make you really sick. That's the whole point of it, right? It's supposed to give your immune system the code for the flu, so it can build up an immunity.
Sampling of it so that you're able to battle it. Right. But I'll say, in my personal experience, I've known families who, their kids get the flu shot and everything, and then like 3 weeks later, they all got the flu. And I know that it's the same thing as the mask, right? Like the flu shot alone is not going to just say you are Superman. You don't have to worry. Yeah. You still got to wash your hands. Mm-hmm. You still got to take basic precautions.
Same thing with this vaccine that they're going to come up with.
If
COVID.
You take basic precautions, I that's what I do, and I don't get the flu shot. So I'm just going to end it there.
Well, I'm going to do that, and
start arguments.
I'm going to do that. I'm not trying to start an argument.
No, I'm not you. Other people are listening who are going to.
Oh, who cares about them?
Here's what I got to say.
Who cares about them? I'm going to do both. I'm just going to do both. Just give it a try. See what happens. Who knows? Okay, so wife took in her car to Canadian Tire to get her brakes done, and they had just a couple of weeks ago, they had a couple of employees there that tested positive for COVID. I don't know how Canadian Tire employees are getting tests, because it seemed like everyone else is having a tough time getting tests. But anyways,
did somebody bring an American car?
Probably. Who knows? Anyway, so some employees got it. So they went on crackdown level. When I went in to bring my car in, like maybe a couple of months ago, it was a little laissez-faire. Like they had the plastic in front of the employee, but you would like put your head around the plastic to talk to the employee, and then you'd hand them their keys. Whereas when Sarah went, it was like drop your keys off in the box and talk to the person behind the glass. You couldn't look around the glass or whatever. Mm-hmm. And as she's telling me this, I'm like, yeah, well, I had to look around the glass to talk to him because I couldn't hear the guy, because he had the mask on and he's behind plastic and he's trying to tell me stuff about the car, and I can't friggin' hear him because they got the music cranked in Canadian Tire. They got this music blaring. The speaker's like right over top of you. And the guy trying to talk to you like, okay, so what you going to do? And like, what? Well, what you going to do is get your socks on. And I'm like, I can't hear you, so I got to look around the plastic. So maybe a good thing to do in all of these stores is to turn the stupid music off. Mm-hmm. That will help stop the spread of the virus. Just turn the dumb music off so we can hear each other talk.
Wouldn't you rather just raise your voice and pull down your mask and
let me tell you, some lady did that today. So we did go to the thrift shop today. I bought all those CDs right there, by the way, $2 a piece. It was good times.
Ooh. I think you didn't collect CDs.
I'm starting to now because it's the only thing I can find around here. There's
gotta buy something.
There's a thrift store here, and that's the only good thing they have are CDs. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it, because vinyl records are getting way too goddamn expensive, and to go to a record store, I got to drive like 20 minutes away. I you know what? I can just go around the corner and then just get that urge out of my system to go and do something and buy something, and then I'm done. So, and I'm having fun because they're only $2 a piece too, whereas vinyl records are like $25, $30. They're getting like more and more expensive, where I just want to buy the cheap stuff and have fun. Anyways, So I found a whole bunch of stuff there, and we found the complete season of Oz too. Never watched that show. You ever watched that
On CD, you're gonna listen
on?
to the complete
No, no,
season.
no. On it was on DVD. They have movies and TV shows there too. So we've got
Oh,
the complete season
for
of.
$2.
No, it was. So we already had season 1 of Oz that we found somewhere. So this was season 2 through 6 for $5 a piece. So we got those for $5
That ain't bad.
each. So all in all, we bought that. We bought season 1 of the Jeffersons too. So we got
Ooh.
7 TV series, like seasons of a TV shows, and 20 CDs. And Sarah bought a scarf for $70 today. So that was enough. Anyway,
you're gonna sit right down and watch all those.
we want to. We got to finish. We're still finishing up Sanford and Son. We're on the last season of Sanford and Son. Hey, Kyle came back. Oh, Kyle, you missed all the Star Trek talk.
He's stupid, so people feel like they can relate.
I think he's talking about you.
Kyle, clarification there.
I don't know. Maybe it's a delayed response. Who knows? Might be talking about Trump still. Who knows? Maybe he paused.
Very delayed comment.
What the heck? Anyways, what the heck were we talking about? Oh yeah,
Oz.
Oz. Yeah, so we bought that.
CDs.
Okay, yeah, so we're standing in line, ready to, and there was us, and there was this young couple that was in front of us, and they go up to pay their stuff, and we're social distancing. We're far behind back, and this lady comes out of nowhere. And there's only the one guy behind the counter. Usually there's people walking around busy, but because of COVID, there's only one guy behind the counter. Lady comes out of nowhere. She got her mask on. She pulls it down. She's like, "Hey, did anybody come here with a big, large orange bouquet?" And the guy behind the counter is like, "No." And meanwhile, like this young couple is like looking, and they're like trying to move away from this lady who has her mask off and is just yelling because he's got plastic all in front of him, right? So no one can friggin' hear each other. It's like, "Oh, somebody was supposed to come here with an orange bouquet and leave it here." And she's going on and on and on. It's like, lady, like, put your mask. So then she finally puts her mask on and walks away, but just completely rude. Like, people are just dinks.
Some people
Awful.
just don't get it.
No, awful. Okay, so he said that was from Trump earlier talk. So there you go.
Trying to save yourself, huh, Kyle?
Yeah. I think that's funny. Okay, let's talk about movies and TV.
Yes, because I got like 30 minutes.
Let's do this.
Amount. Where's my outline?
Doomsday. What's Doomsday?
Okay, gosh, I gotta try to
Superman?
remember this. No, I was, October. I was in a spooky mood, gonna like, hey, let me watch some Halloween movies, and I saw something pop up on Netflix, and it just said Doomsday, and there was a picture of some lady with tattoos all over her face. I was like, okay, I'm guessing this is a Halloween scary movie. I never heard of it, and I looked at it briefly. It was like something takes place in London. It's like, oh, is this like a British film? Okay, give it a shot. Here we go. And I started watching it, and it felt like a Resident Evil movie. There's some virus going around, and there's people at a bridge, and they're like, oh, let us through, and like, no, you've got the virus, you can't get through. So like, okay, Resident Evil movie, got it. And then it goes on, and I'm like, okay, now it's an action movie. Now it feels like it's a 1980s, 1990s action movie. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. All right, doing the action thing. Then it turns into a 2008 political drama with a bunch of people in suits discussing major decisions. Like, all right, what's going on here? And then it becomes Escape from New York, and then it becomes Game of Thrones, and then it becomes Mad Max.
This movie had it all.
As if we had everything. And I looked it up afterwards, and sure enough, it was the director was a fan of all these different things, and somehow,
Really?
it's like, I love this, so I'm going to put that in there. I love this, so I'm going to put that in there. You know what, like student filmmakers do.
Oh,
like,
wow.
all of my favorite references in
Everything in there.
The odd thing, though, it kind of works. It's not a brilliant movie. It's got its share of problems, but as just simple, I'm gonna sit down and watch something for an hour and a half. It's not that bad. It's a bit. I suppose if I want to make it sound a little bit more sane, virus comes out. People lock down this area. It's like, oh, we got the virus contained. We got it in this one area. We're not going to go in there. We're just going to leave it alone. It's like a dead man's land. And that's like some part of Scotland that gets locked down.
Also got Highlander in there as well.
Yes, Highlander and Dr. Bashir.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the prime minister.
By the way, Star Trek actor coming up in some later talk. Just
excellent.
To tease you a little bit.
Isn't it always wonderful when you see a Star Trek actor do something else?
Yeah, and you're going to like this one. You're going to like
it. All right. So they lock down this one area, and then many years go by. But meanwhile, because this large area has been locked down, they have people kind of crammed together in other areas. So they discover, the virus is back. We've found somebody who's got it. And then the whole thing is they got to send a team into the quarantine zone because they've secretly known that there were survivors in there, and they're hoping to find a cure. So they got to send a special team in. And when you go in there, it's like Escape from New York. There's like all this weird stuff going on, and people have kind of made their own factions. And it's almost like that Snowpiercer movie where every car is different and it doesn't mix. It's somehow it's like it should, but there are these different groups within there that are completely different, but for some reason they don't blend. I don't know. It was a silly movie. It was kind of fun, and not the woman from Underworld is in it. Like when I turned it on, I was like, "That's the actress from Underworld. I know her."
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, and I'm like, but then you look at the credits, like, no, that's not her. But I was like, no, that it looks just like her. And apparently, it is the actress who was in one of the later Underworld movies, who is not Kate Beckinsale, but looks just like her.
Yes, I know who you're talking about because so there was an Underworld movie where they went back
into
in
the
time.
past, right?
It was a prequel kind of thing. And yeah, I watched like half of that movie thinking it was Kate Beckinsale until like the light hit her and her nose was a little bigger or whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, is that really her? And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, that's not even her.
But it's amazing how much they look alike.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a weird movie.
So before you move on to your next movie, because you said Resident Evil, you reminded me of something.
Okay.
They're shooting the next Resident Evil movie, not only in my hometown that I grew up in.
Wait a minute. Next, I thought they finished that series.
Not only are they shooting the next Resident Evil movie in the hometown that I grew up in, but they're also shooting it, scenes of it in the hospital that I was born in.
Really?
Yeah. So the next time you sit down and watch the next Resident Evil movie, you can sit there and watch it and say, that's where Buried on Mars was born. Right there. And Sarah used to work there too.
That is something. That's pretty cool.
And it was an open hospital. They closed it down about 10 years ago. So it's going to be perfect for a Resident Evil movie.
Oh, creepy hospital.
Yeah.
So is this back to my boy, Paul W.S. Anderson
I have no idea.
Mia Jovovich?
I have no idea.
What was the name of the last one? It said something like the last final something.
Yeah. I have no
and it was
idea.
Garbage. It was really bad.
I didn't know that they were making it. A friend of mine posted some shots of a squad car in Sudbury that had RPD on it. And when he was showing these things, I thought somebody did it for Halloween. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever. Drive around in the, Resident Evil cop car that Leon drives at the beginning of Resident Evil 2. So that's pretty clever. But then my buddy Frank posted some there was like an RPD gate or whatever with a few cars in that. And it's like the RPD from the video game. So I don't know if this is like a new, like maybe closely tied to the video game or something. I have no idea. I'm not.
Ooh, this is a reboot.
That's what it looked like from the images that I saw. It looked like more closer to the video game stuff.
I guess.
Yeah.
This is probably gonna be garbage.
Well, I people didn't like the the other series, so who knows?
Sure made a lot of money though.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever.
Whatevs.
Anyways, I thought that would be fun to mention. So next Resident Evil movie. Keep an eye out. I was born there, and Sarah used to work there.
If anything, I'll watch it for that.
Yeah, I know I am. I'm gonna say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Head down to the thrift shop, sign autographs. You know what's in them. My hospital.
I'm pretty sure people are going to
No, I
want me
don't
to
own
mark
the
up.
hospital. It's just at
Pretty
one
sure
point in
people-
my life, I was in that building.
They're going to want my marking up their perfectly good Blu-rays and DVDs with my scribble on it. Okay, so
I also watched Christine.
Yes,
it was the first time I ever seen it.
John Carpenter's Christine.
It was fun. Yes, one more tick for the John Carpenter watch list.
I agree with you. I enjoy that movie, and it's fairly faithful to the Stephen King book, which I also enjoy.
You know, it had a lot of Stephen King in there. I knew it was him that wrote it, but I was surprised to see that it took place in California, not Maine.
Yeah, there are a few books where it takes place in other locations.
I really am curious. I have to look this up now of just how many cars they had, because that car goes through so many changes, so many collisions, modifications. It's a wreck. It's brand new. It's got this damage. It's got that damage. Like, they must have had at least a dozen of these cars, or
I
just
imagine
a mechanic who was just there, who's constantly, switching it out. We need a busted bumper for this scene. We got to do this.
No, it's way cheaper to have like several cars and have them for every single
that
thing you need them for.
We've said this a million times of the practical effects versus CGI, but there are scenes where they're like, the car is like righting itself after it's taken damage, which I'm guessing was just shot in reverse and then, play it backwards, but looks great. A lot of great cinematography, good shots, nice. I really like when they have those nice wide establishing shots and you just let the scene play, not like cut.
Yes.
Oh, fun time. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but fun movie.
Yeah, I watched. Did I tell you I watched Maximum Overdrive not too long ago?
You mentioned that on Twitter,
yeah. And it's much better than I remembered. But
it's goofy. It is really goofy.
It is, but it's like it's not as goofy as I thought. Like I really remembered it being really bad. And
the imagery of it with that green goblin face and some of the "we created you, how can you do this" and all that. You remember
we made you.
Very silly.
Yeah, there were like a really. I mean, the only parts that made me really cringe were the scenes between Emilio Estevez and his love interest. Those were pretty lame, but the rest of it I thought was pretty good. Them going under the culverts to get around the trucks and go create, mayhem, and then the flatbed with the machine gun on it that comes and contacts them with a horn and all that. I thought that was pretty. I don't know. I liked it a lot more this time around. I remember watching it
it's a movie you can sit down and watch again.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
Problems, but it's like maybe you're in the mood to watch Tremors, but you're for some reason you're like, I want to watch that kind of movie. People stuck. And gotta get away from the monsters.
And there is I think it's on Prime, Amazon Prime, but there is another Stephen King movie called Trucks from the 90s. I don't know if it's any good. I just saw it on there. I'm like, isn't that Maximum Overdrive? Because I'm pretty sure he took his short story Trucks and made it into Maximum Overdrive, but I don't know.
It sounds like one of those Disney Pixar movies.
No, it's not. It was like a horror kind of thing. So I'm kind of curious to watch it. Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, I did watch Borat 2. That's a movie that everyone has been talking about, except for Kyle, who wants to talk about the second Elvira movie.
Oh, good call, Kyle.
Did you check that out?
Know what? I just went to YouTube and I was like, oh, Elvira movie. I was hoping to see a trailer or something. Whole movie popped up.
Oh,
and
nice.
I watched about 5 minutes of it, and within the first 30 seconds, you're like, "Oh, this is the tone they're going for," and I didn't make it very far.
Okay, so thumbs up for the first Elvira movie, not so much for the second.
Yeah, it's an odd choice. It's like a period piece. Now she's like in the 1800s,
Oh,
but
why do
she
they
still
do
but
that?
she still behaves like a modern day,
Yeah, yeah,
entertainer.
yeah. That's not my favorite
That's an
direction
odd
either.
choice, especially for, like her, like she was popular in the 80s and her movie came out in the late 80s capitalizing on her fame
Hmm.
and all that. And then fast forward to early 2000s, put out another movie. It's just trying to get that
Get something
energy
going.
back or
Yeah.
something. But apparently she does like stage shows and stuff. That's always been like a, I don't know.
Mm, don't know. Okay, I watched Borat 2, the movie that everyone's talking about. Some people are poo-pooing on it because it's not as good as Borat 1. And I agree, it's not, as groundbreaking as Borat 1 was, but I thought the second movie was pretty darn good. He's got this actress who's playing his daughter in it, who's from Bulgaria or something like that. She has a really thick accent, and she's really stole the show. She was hilarious in the movie. Um, Borat is in like he's in the doghouse in his home country of Kazakhstan, and because of he made Kazakhstan look terrible in the first movie, which is kind of a play on like the actual Kazakhstan that was upset with the first movie because it felt like if the people there felt like the movie made them look foolish. Um, and meanwhile, in Canada, we have Bob and Doug Mckenzie, and we put them up on a pedestal. you know. Anyways, they felt that so. Anyways, he played with that, and yeah, he's in the doghouse. So he's given this assignment that he has to take this monkey to Mike Pence in the United States because they want to give Mike Pence a present. The country of Kazakhstan. So they want to give him like this monkey who they think is like the greatest actor in their country, like the greatest entertainer or whatever. It makes sense when you watch the movie. So they ship the monkey out there with Borat, and Borat gets into the United States, and it's his daughter in the crate instead of the monkey. His daughter ends up eating the monkey to survive her trip over there in this crate. It's ridiculous as heck. But anyways, he gets behind the scenes with like QAnon people who just believe, like all the crazy stuff, messing around with reporters, messing around with like this guy on this fax machine. That because of course it's Kazakhstan, so they can only receive faxes. He can't text anyone there or anything like that because they're so backwards. So he goes into like this shop and he's just like writing down the most ridiculous correspondence between him and these people in Kazakhstan, and he's using this fax machine. He's getting this guy to write down all this stuff, and the guy just writes it down, doesn't even ask any questions or anything like that. It's really funny stuff. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. He catches Rudy Giuliani with his hands down his pants. Good times. So I recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch the first one if you want, and then you can watch the second one. And, yeah, it's not as good, but I still had a really good time with it. I was laughing a lot, and I thought it was really good. And then I wanted to watch some scary movies. So I went into my collection, my Blu-ray collection, and I said, what do I have for horror movies that I haven't watched yet? And I'm reminded that I have these stupid Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah, you bought that, didn't you?
I bought the whole set. I got like 6 or 7 of them are on this dumb set. So I watched the first one. I wasn't that wild with it. And then everyone says the second one is really bad. Even the people who love the series say it's bad. But then the third one is really good.
That's Dream Warriors, right?
I don't know what the heck. It was part 3.
It's the one with the kids in the nut house, or like the
Nope.
mental institution. No.
What the heck happened in it? So the girl. Okay, so I watched part 2, and I agree with everybody. That movie
Freddy's
is not
Revenge.
very good. That movie's not very good. It I don't know. It's not very good. It was a school bus and also I don't understand what town they're supposed to be in either. They're supposed to be, I think, in Indiana or something. Like, where is Elm Street?
Springwood.
Yeah, but where is Springwood? Like, what state?
Wow.
Because
It's right next to the Simpsons house.
it looks like Springfield. Like the town they're in looks like Springfield, but he drives the bus off into the desert all the time. I'm like, I have no idea where the hell they are.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
so yeah,
I saw it on TV.
I watched part 2, and I think a lot of people's problem with that movie is that Robert Englund is that's Freddy Krueger, right? But in most of that movie, it's this kid who plays Freddy Krueger because Freddy Krueger possesses this kid because Freddy Krueger needs his body to come out. Nothing's ever really clear in these movies either. They're really smut. So I watched part 2. All right, I agree with everyone. It's not very good, but everyone says part 3. That one's really good. So I'm like, all right, I'll start at part 3. So part 3, it's the girl from the first movie who becomes, because she's super smart, she fast tracks to become a psychiatrist, some sort of expert in dreams and stuff, because she's motivated with all this stuff. And there's these kids. Yeah, I guess they are in a mental institute. What am I talking about? Yeah, they are in a mental institute.
The Dream Warriors, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the one girl, she can bring people into her dream. They establish that at the beginning of the movie, and then she really doesn't do anything with it for the rest of the movie. It was kind of weird.
They just needed her to do that so they could link up inside. It was
like, okay, we got to take care of her because she has the power, and this is going to be the thing that we're going to be able to get Freddy with. She never does anything with it. I don't know what people are talking about. I thought number 1 was bad, number 2 was bad, number 3 was just as bad. All these movies are bad, so I don't know. I think I'm done with this series. It's not scary. It's not even that gory or anything like that. I don't know what the heck I was scared of avoiding these movies when I was a kid. I could have watched these. It was no more gory than that episode of Star Trek where the guy's head explodes. Yeah, and it's just his eyeballs and his face blown off. That was more terrifying than anything in these dumb movies. So I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. You didn't watch them when you were a kid.
Maybe
I guarantee you, all the people that are really into these, they did watch them at a younger age, and this is fun. I wish I had dream powers. It's like fantasizing about being an X-Man. Yeah, kind of what this movie is. I remember, because we did Nightmare on Elm Street for a Fandango a while back, and I watched 1 and 3 and whatever the final Nightmare was. It's the Nancy trilogy. The character is in all 3 of those.
Right, yeah.
And I remember thinking that 3 was really good. I remember watching it when I was a kid and enjoying it more than the other ones. And this time around, I was like, it's really not that great. It doesn't make any sense. And all the parts that I thought were fun are just meh.
Yeah, like there was like
the new Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That's the one that I think is the best of all of them. But even that one, it's like for 2/3, it's pretty decent, and then it falls off at the end.
I might have that. That one might be in the set.
That's the one I would like. If you ever decide to watch anything on that set before you chuck it in the garbage, check out New Nightmare, and you'll find that there are parts of the beginning and middle of the movie that are pretty good, and then it gets bad. It just turns into the other movies.
It, like there was one pretty good scene in part 3 where there's this girl that she doesn't want to fall asleep. Nobody wants to fall asleep because Freddy can get them. They fall asleep.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
So she's in the common area and the guy comes in. It was Larry Fishburne, by the way. Larry Fishburne.
Yes. He was one of the staff at the institution. Yeah. So
Larry says to her, "Look, you got to go to bed." She's like, "I don't want to sleep. Can I just stay in the common area here and watch TV?"
Watch TV. That's the scene.
Well, okay. Well, I'll let you do it, but only this time. But you got to be good and all this stuff. So she sits there and watches TV, and then she falls asleep while watching TV. I believe it was STC Pod that might have been on the TV that she fell asleep to. Who knows? But
on her smart TV
institution. It was something that could make her fall asleep easily anyways. So she falls asleep and, Freddy, she walks up to the TV for some reason in her dream, and Freddy, these arms come out of the TV and they're all robotic and everything. And he grabs her and pulls her into the TV and kills her, which was fine. It was kind of cool stop motion effects there.
It's cool. The arms come out and then his head comes through the top. It stretches up.
Right. But I just felt the whole thing was ruined when he pulls her towards the TV and she puts her head down to make sure that her head goes into the tube. So you can have that nice shot of her just hanging there by her head from the.
Well, there's only two reactions for that. One is to brace for impact. Top of
Yeah.
your head is the hardest part of the body.
I suppose.
Or to, pull back.
I think would be the more natural thing to do than do this, But anyways, like they could have just, I don't know, handled that a little bit better.
A good actress does what the director says.
I'm not blaming the actress for I'm not blaming any of the actually the acting is not that great in this movie. Like that girl who plays Nancy, she's not the strongest actor. I don't feel.
No, not at all.
I don't feel. And all the acting in it wasn't that great. Larry was all right. You could tell that he was
Cowboy Curtis just mopping the floor.
Yeah. So I think I'm done with that series, but I might give that one more shot. And so Kyle says, weakest of those slasher flicks.
Are you talking about Nightmare as a series?
In Fandango fashion, the first movie is always better, and it gets worse from there. Well, that is true. I mean, the only exceptions I think might be The Empire Strikes Back,
Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan.
I still like the motion picture, but they got some good stuff.
Some people will say Terminator 2. I still like that first one a little bit better. I feel like it's more of a monster movie than.
There are many examples of a sequel that does better than the original, but in general,
yes.
Once you've had here's our idea.
Yeah.
Hey, that was something. What else you got?
Yeah.
The same idea again, only less interesting.
Okay, got 10 minutes. I got one more movie to talk about.
Okay.
You're going to want to talk about this movie because it involves Star Trek. I watched The Frighteners, which I had not seen in a very long time. Have you ever seen this movie? It's Michael J. Fox.
That is a Peter Jackson, Michael J. Fox movie.
Correct.
I know of it, and maybe I've seen a few scenes, but no, I can't say I've sat down and watched that movie.
See, for the longest time, I thought that was a Robert Zemeckis movie, and when I saw Peter Jackson's name come up on the director's credit, I'm like, oh, I for some reason, my memory, I remembered it Zemeckis, but
I just know that as being the movie, like Michael J. Fox was on top, Back to the Future, and even some of the other things he did, like Teen Wolf. Like he had a lot of successes.
Yep.
And Frighteners was like, oh, he's not really doing that great stuff anymore.
No, I think it was. No, I think it was like he was red hot in the 80s, and those Back to the Future 2 and 3 came out. Secret of My Success, a couple of things in there, but then it kind of like dipped a bit. I think there was like Doc Hollywood and the roles weren't there. And then The Frighteners was a little bit up.
Oh, was that a little peak?
That was a little bit up. And then he got that role on Spin City, and he was okay for a long time after that. And then he got Parkinson's and not so good. And they put Charlie Sheen. They replaced him with Charlie Sheen on that show.
Yes.
Which was not good times.
You know what's odd is the season that he left the show, there was another cast member who also left the show that season, but like nobody talked about it because the big news was just Michael J. Fox was stepping out.
I never really watched Spin City that much. One of the places
it's one of those shows that like when I catch it, it's like, hey, it's all right.
Yeah,
there's some good stuff here. But, for whatever reason, I never sat down to watch it week to week.
We used to, the place I used to work at with Bill, we would air that show. And Bill would go on and on about Heather Locklear because that was like when the trend was to wear a tight shirt and show your nipples through the shirt.
In the 90s.
Yes.
Like 90s, early 2000s.
She was constantly doing that on this show. And Bill just kept going on and on about it. I'm like, Bill, you know that those are prosthetics that they put underneath her shirt. It's not her actual nipples. It's
part of the shirt, really.
They would put these little like flesh colored
it's like a little barrier
underneath to make it look like as if her nipples were showing through the shirt, but they were not actually his nipples. And you've never seen a guy get more deflated in your life. He was like up here and then just sorry to break it to you, but geez. I mean, if he wasn't carrying on about it all the time, it would have been okay. But you know, you get tired of hearing about it. After a
Poor
while.
Bill.
Yeah. True story, by the way.
When he hears this, man, oh,
He doesn't listen anymore. We're good. We're safe. It's all good. Oh, anyways, the Frighteners. Yeah.
so where's the Star Trek?
We got to talk about this movie.
Frighteners.
Okay, so it was good. It was it was good time. So he Michael J. Fox plays like a ghost hunter or whatever, but really it's his. He had a near death experience, which allows him to communicate with the dead, and he really. He runs this ghost hunting business kind of thing, but it's really a couple of ghosts that he has befriended that go in and haunt houses, like move stuff around and all that. He goes in and pretends to, clear them from the house, and then gets paid. And it's really his two friends that are doing the business. So that's just the setup for the movie. It goes on from there, but. He's kind of suspected his near-death experience involved his wife. It was a car accident with his wife, and his wife passes away. And so there's this FBI agent who is on his case all the time, watching him because he knows that there's something up, right? Like with this guy who says he could talk to ghosts and that, and his wife dies under mysterious circumstances because Michael J. Fox came out of that car accident completely fine, but his wife died, so he knows there's something up. And he's a really weird guy. He doesn't really do well with like other people in social situations. He's socially awkward in that, but he's on the case. And the guy is played by your guy, your guy Jeffrey Combs. And he's
Jeffrey Combs. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he's really good in it. Really good in it.
He is like a fun actor to watch.
He wears like this kind of like Hitler haircut kind of thing, like he's got the shaved side of the head and the slick back hair. Doesn't have the mustache, but really like they give him like this really pale face, and he's got like these complete like beady eyeballs in there, and it's really good. It's really good. It's a fun movie that I think holds up. I had good times anyways watching it again. So
that makes sense because Peter Jackson did like cheap horror movies, and that's where Jeffrey Combs really got famous doing
right.
The Reanimators and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. If I see that around, I will give it a watch. When you were describing it, it sounds a little familiar. The thing about him scamming people with his ghost buddies, that maybe I did see parts of this movie before.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably have. I mean, it's been on a few times. I just want something Halloweenish to watch. I'm like, you know what? It's time to watch that again.
And speaking of ghosts, right now, Ghostbusters Remastered is available free.
How did we skip over that?
And if you're listening to this show when it gets uploaded, it's still free for at least a day or two.
All right. So you want to get that. So you can play along with us in February? Yes.
February.
It'll be the Cartridge Club Game of the Month in February. And Richard and I will both be playing it. We'll both be on that episode.
I'm already playing it because I was curious to see how this goes. And I'll bite my tongue now, but I've already got comments all around the spectrum. A lot of comments.
I haven't played it that much, actually. I paid $5 for it with my coupon. $5 American, by the way. I don't know. I thought it was okay myself, but I only played it a little bit.
Well, I played my copy on the 360 a number of times, so there's a lot that I remember.
I played it. I played it on
differences.
I played it through on the 360 twice, and I played through a good chunk of it on the PlayStation 3. So, I do remember the game quite well, and I did play it. Yeah, I played a bunch of it on the PC. I made it to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man hanging from the building. That's as far as I made it on the PC. So hopefully my save is still there. I don't know. I'll have to check.
Well, that's one of my comments too.
Uh-oh.
Until February, folks.
Do you think is that a problem with the game, or is that a problem with the Epic Game Store, do you think?
Talk to you in February.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's a big
Ghostbusters
tease.
Remastered.
That's a big tease for February. So mark your calendars. Okay, we're running out of time.
Yes.
So let's just wrap up the show. Follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango. Get a boner with Fandango. Check out our Discord channel. It's awesome. We had Kyle actually join us not too long ago on there, and he's been chiming in on the Discord. I've been seeing you on there, Kyle. So it's been good times. And Retro Fandango, the last weekly podcast, still standing in the Cartridge Club. No other podcast in the Cartridge Club delivers entertainment to you weekly. Not a single one. They're all either gone, retired, or just too lazy to put out an episode every week.
They tapped out.
They gave up. They said, you know what? We can't compete with Fandango.
Exactly.
Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it. And some are just busy doing weird stuff on YouTube. Weird stuff. Oh, yeah. And Kyle put up a couple of movie codes on our Discord. So there you go. Get an invite.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, you're missing out on some free movies.
Apparently so.
Exclusive for Fandango listeners. Thank you for doing that.
for Fandango listeners, not Fandango hosts, apparently.
Nope. Well, you got to get on the Discord. Exclusive to Fandango Discord fans. That's it. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us in the chat. I think it was just Kyle. It looked like it was just Kyle, but that's fine. That's good.
Hey,
we should have Kyle on again at some point.
Look at all these comments. Look, I have to scroll
to
see all the comments we got.
That is some participation.
You get a gold star.
This was the episode of Kyle. We thought it was going to be Sean Connery was going to be a star, but no, it was Kyle. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that's it.
All right. Bye, Kyle.